And we're live, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk, and good morning, everybody, on this sunny, wonderful day in the most beautiful town in the world. We'll call this meeting to order, and I would ask that if you can, please rise for the singing of O Canada. Thank you very much, and we'll now go to item number 1.2 on the agenda, which is our land acknowledgement, and I'll look to Councillor DeLeo for this. Good morning, Councillor.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, everyone. The town of Wasaga Beach acknowledges it is located upon the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe people of the Three Fires Confederacy. We also acknowledge that the people of the Wyandot Nation also inhabited these lands. We acknowledge that these nations were sovereign nations existing before the arrival of settlers. We respect the spiritual interconnection among these nations to the land and to the water. We also acknowledge that waterways near us have a long history predating European arrival. Since time immemorial, waterways were the lifeblood of the Indigenous people by trade and hunting routes. We are dedicated to inclusivity of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people in our future stewardship of the land and the longest freshwater beach in the world. In the spirit of reconciliation, we welcome the opportunity of learning to be sustainable caretakers of the land and waterways for all future generations. May-wich.
Thank you, May-wich, Councillor. And moving on to item number 1.3, introduction of our new community planner, Nell Soriano. And I'm going to look to our Director of Planning, Trevor Houghton, to introduce Nell. Nell, come on forward. Welcome to the team.
Thank you, Your
Trevor.
Worship. He has his RPP designation and holds an honors Bachelor of Environmental Studies in Urban and Regional Planning from the University of Waterloo. Nell is also returning to the University of Waterloo this fall to study for his Master's in Futures Cities degree. Nell has over 6 years of municipal planning experience from across Canada, including in the City of Edmonton, City of Brampton, and most recently in the City of Calgary. So we're very excited that he's here, and we would ask Council to please welcome Nell to the team. Thank you.
This is where you make a speech, Nell. No, I'm kidding, but absolutely say a few words if you like.
Absolutely, Your Worship, Council. Thank you so much for having me. I just want to express my gratitude and how excited I am to be here in this opportunity. Coming back home to Ontario, born and raised in Mississauga, tried the Alberta thing for a little bit, but I think I landed in the best town in the province, so excited to be here. Thank you.
Well, Mississauga, Wasaga, close enough, but you finally got it right now, so that's great, and you are in the most beautiful town in the province, in the country. I often say that we live in the most beautiful municipality in the best province in the best country in the world, so welcome, glad to have you back. All right, do you have a Stetson? Do you have a Stetson?
Not yet.
All right, good. Thanks very much. All right, thank you. Moving on then to item number 2, proclamations, and we have none today. Item number 3 on the agenda is disclosure of pecuniary interest. I have no pecuniary interest before me at this point from members of council. If at some point throughout the meeting you feel you have a pecuniary interest, please let us know at that time. Item number 4 is the adoption of the agenda with a recommended motion that the contents of the agenda for May 28th, 2026 be approved as circulated. Any questions or comments on this? Can I have a mover and a seconder for this, please? Councillor Belanger and Councillor Timms. All in favor? Carries unanimously. Item number 5 is the approval of the minutes in the regular meeting of council held May 14th, with a recommended motion that the minutes of the council meeting held May 14th, 2026 be adopted as circulated. Any errors or omissions on this item? Seeing none, could I have a mover and a seconder for this, please? Moved by Councillor White, seconded by Councillor DeLeo. All in favor? That carries unanimously. Item number 6 on the agenda is the WBSC, the Wasaga Beach Sports and Entertainment shareholder meeting, which we'll carry on with now, and we do have a presentation for this. Item 6.1, the 2025 year in review, and I'll turn the floor over to our Vice President, Jocelyn Lee, who is also our CFO, to provide information on the 2025 year in review. Good morning, Jocelyn. I see you've got a new hairdo. Looks great.
Thank you, Your Worship.
All right. Floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, and good morning, members of council, staff, and visitors. The Wasaga Beach Sports and Entertainment, or our short name, WBSE, is a municipal service corporation of the town. And today we are here, as mentioned, to present the 25 audited financial statements. And, sorry, I'm just going to get the clicker. So our agenda for this morning is a short presentation, but we have introductory remarks from Andrew McNeil, and then I'll present to you the financial report for the period ending December 31st, 25, and then I'll provide a midterm update where we are in 2026. So with that, I'm just going to turn the floor over for a moment to Andrew.
Thank you, Jocelyn, and I'll keep my remarks brief. Jocelyn will do the heavy lifting in this presentation. Just wanted to remind Council that the WBSE, which is a municipal services corporation, was incorporated in October of 2024. As a reminder, why did we do this? This council staff set an ambitious goal to try and raise revenue to pay for things such as our new Twin Pad Arena library, with ways that we haven't really thought about doing in the past. So the ambition was fantastic, and we're always looking at creative and innovative ways to save taxpayers money. At the time, because there was a desire to actually create a profitable corporation, legal advice was that you are required to create a municipal services corporation. That has triggered the audit that you're going to hear today. In normal years, if you're just doing special events, you wouldn't have to do this kind of thing. So this audit is triggered because we created a municipal services corporation. Also, as a reminder, as part of the business plan for the MSC in October of 2024, our recently retired Deputy CEO provided a presentation to Council. It was a rather ambitious presentation. I think there's no denying that. And I think the Deputy may have overshot a little bit with the expectations in terms of revenue, but again, best of intentions here. And I think staff really rallied around the MSC to deliver some amazing experiences for our community. And those are experiences that will last a lifetime, and that's what our brand is really about. These experiences will also cascade down and inform all of the events that we do moving forward. Next slide. Oh, can you change slide, Jocelyn? I won't get into the details that are highlighted in this slide, but I just wanted to say with any new corporation, there is always a challenging startup period. The good news is between year 1 and year 2, we're doing a lot better. So the corporation wasn't quite profitable, but it was definitely on the trajectory to become profitable. But most importantly, the experiences, can't take those away, they're phenomenal. We learned a lot. particularly that staff overhead was one of the things that was really difficult. If you actually look at the events that were put on versus the revenues, they were actually positive. It was the staff overhead that was really creating the challenge in the bottom line. So again, these are learning experiences that we will take moving forward. And with that, I think I'll turn it over to Jocelyn to walk you through the details of the audit.
Thank you, Andrew. Jocelyn?
Thank you. Okay, so we'll begin now with our financial review. And to start with, the auditors, when they come, they provide an opinion on the results of the findings. And what we call a clean audit opinion is when they come back and say they have found everything to be in perspective of what they would expect. And I'm going to just read to you what the opinion is from the financial statements. So it reads, in our opinion, the accompanying financial statements present fairly, in all material respects, the balance sheet of Wasaga Beach Sports and Entertainment, Inc., as at December 31st, 2025, and its financial performance and cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with international financial reporting standards. So the auditors brought their report forward to the board on March 12th, and following the presentation to the board approved the financial statements, and that brings us here today. So the 2025 revenues, we had several performances. There were 7 headline performances as well as 6 opening bands. And the types of events that were held were music performances, the Collingwood Collegiate commencement, skating performers, and a speaking series. And together, these performances generated $457,000 in revenue. As mentioned, there was direct programming costs, and those costs were $425,000. And in addition to those direct costs, we also incurred overhead costs for things such as our administrative staff, insurance, legal, audit fees, regular types of administrative costs of any business. And in total, those expenses were $535,000. So when we look at the net fiscal year results, with total revenues of $457,000 against the total direct costs of $425,000, this left a small gross profit before overheads of $32,000. And then when we apply the overheads of $110,000, this results in our net deficit period for the first full fiscal year for the business, ending December 31st at $78,000. Looking at our balance sheet, on the asset side, we have cash on hand of $368,000. We have some receivables mainly related to HST, an overpayment of HST being refunded. We have prepaid expenses of $1,500 for next year and some intangible assets related to the development of the website of $6,950. On the liability side, we have some accounts payable and accruals of $20,000, and we have deferred revenue for the 2026 fiscal year of $3,900. As well, we have our long-term loan from the town of $500,000 that was invested into startup for the business. The shareholders' position at this time, we have our share capital of $100, which was put in at the beginning to start the business. And then we have accumulated deficits between the first year for 2024, which was only a 2.5-month period, basically startup costs, and we had a loss of $63,000. And then added to that the first year of full business cycle, and we have the additional deficit of $78,000. And this results in an accumulated deficit of $141,000. So I'm going to move now into the midterm update. And here, our focus in 2026 is on opportunities, our strengths, and some strategy development. We need to identify some areas for improvement. And one of those areas that we think we can do better at is our advanced ticket sales, where we have longer lead time and have those that marketing out there for a longer period of time. We want to tap into some industry knowledge and experience and coordinate our long-term plans with the plans for Destination Wasaga Master Plan. So in essence, we're looking at realignment, what worked, what didn't, and how we're going to go forward from here. So accompanying this presentation are the Wasaga Beach Sports and Entertainment 2025 audited financial statements, and there are notes in those financial statements that will help the reader understand some of the numbers that are presented. And with that, that moves us finally to our conclusion of our presentation, and just a reflection on some of the pictures that show some of the wonderful entertainment that was presented during 2025. And it's clear from the pictures the enjoyment that was experienced. So thank you very much, Your Worship.
Thank you, Madam CFO, and the beat goes on. Great ending to that presentation. All right, Andrew, anything to add?
No, not at this time. Happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you very much. All right, we'll look to members of the WBSE board for questions or comments on this. Councillor Timms?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm just going to make a comment, if I could. You know, I recognize that financial challenges and understand the concerns regarding deficits, but I think we really have to look at WBSE from a long-term potential. It's in an organization still in its infancy, operating in an industry that requires long lead times before profitability. I continue to support WBSE because I believe that events, entertainment, destination development are important components of building our year-round economy, and that's very often the lens I look through when I look at things like this. I think what matters now is learning and realigning from year one to refining strategy, developing partnerships, building relationships, audiences, and gaining community trust. I think that we have lots of opportunity to improve WBSE's performance over time. So thank you. That was a good report.
Thank you for those comments. Councillor, any other questions or comments? Councillor Belanger?
Through the mayor, I would just say that the report doesn't reflect any economic benefit spin-off that does occur with these events, and certainly, as you had indicated, with our own town events staff, sometimes we'll do a free event to enhance the lives of our residents and provide enjoyment. They're not all for profit, but they all do derive economic spin-off in our accommodations in our restaurants, and so I think it's important to understand that there is that element. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I do have a couple of comments. I think, first of all, this is not a big surprise. It's a new corporation. I think if you look at any new corporation, they're not normally profitable in the first couple of years or a few years. And if they are, then they're doing something really, really well. And they've obviously got something that people really, really want. So not surprised by this. We will absolutely learn from this. And you know, the good news is we've realized that there are some more challenges and other challenges that we've learned and we will learn from. And you know, this was always meant to be a loan from the town to be funded to us as a loan. So is that as seed money, so is that we could go out and you know, form this corporation and start to do good things. And I think what's most important to remember is that this, again, is all about what this council has been doing throughout this whole term. And you know, development pays for development, tourism pays for tourism. And, you know, I think it's probably safe to say that had WBSE not done these, a lot of this cost, if not all of it, would have been borne through special events anyway, and it would have been just a direct payout from the taxpayer within the budget. The good news is this makes it more open, more transparent, and it puts you know, individuals employed by the corporation, as well as this, as the board, in a position to be responsible and to make sure that we're open and transparent, which is why we're doing what we're doing. It's not a pleasant time, that's for sure. But it's you know, I've been in business 40 years. This doesn't surprise me, and I'm not shocked by it, and I'm not concerned by it, because to member, and forgive me, I keep referring to council, but to member Tim's point, we don't give up here. We simply sit back, we look at what we've done, and we've done some great things, and we look at how we refine all of those things and things in future, and we move forward, because I truly believe that the potential of WBSE is very good and very strong. What we learned clearly, unequivocally, without a doubt, is that people want entertainment. And they want good, and they want a higher level of entertainment. So it's how do we provide that and do it in a profitable way. It's done all over. We did it in our very first opening concert with Burton Cummings and Blue Rodeo. That was a very profitable event for us. And so we've just got to sit back and look at this and get aces in their places. I refer to this. So who on the board and who on staff or an employee of WBSE do we need to hire who has great experience in this industry, knows all the pitfalls, knows the plus and minuses, and can help us make this the success that I truly believe to this day that it can be. So thank you for the report, Jocelyn, and Mr. CAO, you have a comment?
Yeah, thank you. In response to all the great feedback, I just wanted to share a little bit here and acknowledge the amazing team that supported all of this. And again, we learned a lot, but very proud to say that the town staff that put these events on have gotten really good at putting on events. We started with Burton Cummings and Blue Rodeo, and you'll recall Burton Cummings, who has played around the world in some of the biggest venues on this planet, complimented Wasaga Beach on how great that venue was. That means a lot when someone of his stature compliments our town staff. But we learned a lot about parking, and if you recall that first event, we had a parking issue. The next one, we implemented paid parking, et cetera. So you learn from putting these things on. The program that Casino Rama puts on today looks very different from what it did 10 years ago, 5 years ago. So this is a constantly evolving industry. And that's why the strategic input from really experienced people, I think, is so important to help us grow and take this to the next step. And I also wanted to share with Council, in parallel with all of this, Sandra and myself were on a call yesterday with the team who are putting the finer details on the master plan. You'll recall there's a performance venue that we're planning, figuring out what size to plan that for. Is it 5,000? Is it 10? Is it 15? We need to have some science behind that, because that's going to be important for our future. The types of events that we put on, the type of reputation and brand that we build here. So that's why the strategy is so important right now. We've learned the basics. We can do events really well. We learned about what types of events work well in this community. There's a bit of trial and error behind that. Queen Flash cover band was phenomenal last summer. So you don't have to do big, high-priced events. You can do some cover bands. So we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot about what our community responds well to, but we're also being strategic about how we plan for the future. I'm guessing you want to jump in and add to that.
Thank you, Andrew. Sandra?
Through you, Your Worship, I just wanted to touch on Councillor Tim's comment about programming, and so exactly in the context of Destination Wasaga and the types of venues, the types of talent are also things that are currently under review. So depending on the types of facilities that we have and the venues we have for talent, that impacts the type of talent we can attract. And then again, in terms of business planning and strategic planning, that's what we're really focused on right now.
I think that's a good point. I think it's important to note, if I've learned anything here, and I've learned quite a bit, I feel, but the most important thing is when you host these events, especially larger events, you need a lot more lead time than we have had. You can't plan to have someone like Burton Cummings and Blue Rodeo, for example, come to your facility if you're not able to get out there a year in advance to start promoting that and selling tickets. What we've learned is that people from an entertainment standpoint budget their money for entertainment, and they tend to spend that well in advance. And so this year's done, we're going to see this person, this person, this person. And so if you haven't got that lead time, you're not getting a lot of those dollars. And so, you know, it's really important that we've seen that, we've learned that, and quite frankly, we've struggled with that in so far as, you know, we get out 3 months maybe or 4 months prior to to these events when we really should be 9 to 12 months in front of these events. Andrew?
Last point I'll make. One of the real successes we learned here was that we can do events in February, and we packed the place. And to Councillor Belange's point earlier, we packed every restaurant in this community in the middle of February. That is something that this town has struggled with for as long as I've been alive, how to build a year-round tourism economy. So special events are a key part of the economic future of this town. So WBSE, I think, is going to play a strong role in this town moving forward. We also learned we need a hotel, because we were bringing people here, they were filling our restaurants, but they were staying elsewhere. So having that new hotel on the beachfront, supplemented by great events, is going to really help this community moving forward.
Thank you, Andrew. Excellent point. And so, as I said, we've learned from this. We will continue to move on, and again, keep note, however, that had this not been WBSE, it probably would have been spent through special events at any rate. But listen, I want to be very clear before I adjourn this meeting, if there's no other comments. At the end of the day, this council voted to have WBSE put in place. We act as the board, and we take absolute 100% full responsibility of what happens with this, and we will sit back, we will look at this, and we will make improvements to make sure that it is successful as we move forward. It will take some time. All right, if there's no other questions or comments from the board, then I would declare that this WBSE Annual General Meeting for 2025 is adjourned. All right, moving on into council agenda, item number 7, presentations. There are none. Number 8, delegations, we have none. And number 9, government relations. We do have 9.1, the Beachfront Stewardship General Manager of External Relations, Director of Parks and Recreation Facilities here to speak to this. And so I'll pass the floor over to Lee, Sandra, and Andrew. And you can fight over who goes first to present where we're at with this today. Sandra?
Through you, Your Worship, today we're just bringing a very brief update on some of the progress at the beachfront with regards to beachfront stewardship. Today I am happy to announce, and I won't steal all of Lee's thunder, but we have some new hires and some new people that are joining our team very soon. So at the next council, we will certainly bring them to introduce them to council. That will make up a large part, or an important part, of our beachfront piping plover stewardship team. I will defer to Lee to elaborate a little bit on some of the other activities, but just to let you know also that later this morning we will be announcing that piping plovers have returned to Wasaga Beach. This is very exciting news. I did want to flag for council a couple of things that we are doing to make sure that we're keeping the piping plovers safe. One thing that you'll notice when our news release hits the wire is that we will not be disclosing specific locations, but we will be celebrating that our approach is working, our collaboration and our partnerships and all of the on-the-ground work that our Public Works team and our bylaw team and our communications team are doing every day. It's working, and we've had a positive result. So some exciting news coming out this morning, and we wanted you to be the first to know.
Thank you very much, Sandra. Lee?
Good morning, Your Worship and Council. From an operational perspective, no major updates from our last council meeting. Our picnic tables have arrived and we're in the process of assembly right now. We're still continuing to progress and move forward with our signage program. The May long weekend was moderately busy. It was good. It allowed our staff to get their feet wet and into the swing of beach operations, so there were no major concerns from an operational standpoint. We've seen some minor vandalism throughout the washroom, but again, nothing that can't be repaired and mitigated quite easily. We do have our plover technicians starting with us next week. We're arranging a training program also to commence next week as well. But outside of that, I don't think there are any major operational updates to provide. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Lee. Any questions or comments for Lee or Sandra? Councillor Ego?
Thank you, and through Your Worship. Thank you, Sandra, for mentioning the plovers and that they're back, and that you mentioned that the specific location is not being disclosed. And I appreciate that. I just want to emphasize on that. I've done a fair bit of research, and that's because you do not want hundreds of people coming to look at those plovers, because they want their privacy. And so I want that clear for the public. Why we are not disclosing it is for that reason. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. We all probably want to look at these wonderful little birds, but that's an excellent point. They don't want us looking at them. Andrew?
Thank you. And I just want to add, they didn't just show up yesterday. They've been here for a few weeks. I know there's been chatter on social media that they weren't here. They have been here. We've just kept it quiet. And we've done that out of respect for the birds. Again, we want to keep people away. We won't disclose the exact location. It's at Beach 1. Please, people, stay away. We don't want to disturb them. They have laid eggs, so we want to keep them peaceful and ensure that it's successful. But what I wanted to do, quite frankly, is just thank the team. I don't know that the public is aware of the tremendous amount of work that has gone in this spring. Sandra has been working 24 hours a day for weeks on end. I can't thank her enough for everything she has done to get this program off the ground, to assist with the transition from the province to the municipality, and a smooth transition. We're on top of everything. Lee and his team, Kevin, have been phenomenal about doing everything that's required, getting out there, supporting Birds Canada to put enclosures, et cetera, in place. Nicole, her team, drafting the beach bylaw, Rachel getting out there and making sure that the place is well run. So just across the board, I couldn't be prouder of the effort that this team has put into place. And I think, quite frankly, we're doing a phenomenal job.
Couldn't agree more. Andrew? Sandra?
Through you, Your Worship, thank you. I just want to add to that, absolutely. This has been a tremendous team effort, right, from all of the incredible educational and interpretive signs that are created with our graphic design team, to all of the social posts that go out to keep everybody informed, everything. And we've just been receiving such great feedback from our volunteers as well about the great job that our bylaw officers are doing. They're out there, they're being seen. And our volunteer stewardship volunteers are seeing them, and just wonderful feedback. We've had positive feedback from Birds Canada as well about the actions that we've taken and that we continue to take, and so that collaboration, that working partnership is going very well. And I just wanted to quickly summarize for Council and for the public some of the steps that we have taken in terms of building our municipal stewardship capacity. So in addition to hiring 3 beachfront ambassadors who are already on the ground and have been trained through Birds Canada, we have 2 dedicated destination Wasaga piping plover technicians that are now coming on board, who will also be trained with Birds Canada. And again, this was at the request of our conservation partners that we bring these positions on board in this capacity. This is going to do a lot to help our parks team become viable and to strengthen our ability to conduct this work and to continue to improve as we go. These positions, again, fully funded by the Ontario government as part of our Destination Wasaga master planning project. So in addition to these positions in this capacity, we have introduced the new beach bylaw that gives Wasaga Beach some of the strongest local enforcement tools in Canada to protect sensitive shoreline habitat. Of course, as you know, the bylaw includes significant fines and penalties for activities that disturb wildlife, damage dunes or critical habitat, or interfere with designated protected areas. In partnership with Birds Canada, we have made piping plover stewardship training mandatory for all staff, and that has already started to roll out across some of our teams. And we launched a new parks information line, 705-408-3336, to help residents and visitors access information about park rules, beach operations, and responsible use. Together, these measures aim to provide piping plovers with the space that they need to nest safely, while ensuring that residents and visitors can continue to enjoy the beach, local businesses, our special events and experiences, and all of those things that make Wasaga Beach one of Ontario's top tourism destinations.
Excellent. Thanks very much, Sandra. Okay, now go to members of council for questions or comments. Councillor DeLeo.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. Andrew, this question's for you. You mentioned that the plovers are on Beach 1, correct? As of today, is there any enclosure for these birds or fencing, anything to keep the public out?
Yes.
Great, thank you.
All right, other questions or comments? Deputy Mayor Snell?
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you, I just wanted to give Sandra an opportunity. Can you speak to the fence that was removed, the snow fence that was removed, and what's the plan going forward with that for the original nesting area historically? Thank you.
Sandra?
Through you, Your Worship. I think what you're referring to is the snow fencing that was up at Beach Area 1 near Spruce Street. Is that what you're referring to? So that fencing is not necessary or mandatory. It's not required. That was fencing that the town proactively put up just to delineate the rake zone from the no rake zone. So there is an area where grooming happens to remove glass, garbage, and large pieces of debris to keep the beach safe and accessible for public use. And then there's a zone where we do not use mechanical grooming. It is what we're calling the no rake zone. And so that fencing was simply up. It was a proactive step that the town took while we were planning something a little more permanent. So what you'll see now are some post and rope that have been installed where that fencing once stood. And we intend to put up some new interpretive signage there that educates people on why you'll see a difference. When you pass this point, you'll see that this area has been carefully groomed, whereas this piece over here, this section of sensitive habitat, you'll see, debris, and it obviously hasn't been mechanically groomed, and we want the public to understand why. That it's sensitive habitat, that it's piping plover habitat, and that, all of the good things and the reasons, and we want to educate people about that. That will be installed, I believe, the middle of June. It's in production, and it's very colorful, very bright, very fun, and we think it will get a lot of attention on the beach and help to raise awareness.
Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you. As we're mentioning, Andrew, the investment of time that has gone into launching this process. Obviously, we're tracking revenue. We will be tracking revenue from all of the abundance of parking that we're going to realize down there. Do you see a report coming back to council at the end of season to just sort of share financially what that handover looked like? As sometimes folks are on Facebook saying, that it's downloading, that we shouldn't be taking on this land, it's going to cost taxpayers, when in fact our business model shows quite the opposite. If you could just speak to that, please.
Yeah, thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor. Absolutely. We'll be tracking the business case here. This is not downloading. I don't speak for council, but I expect council is not interested in embracing a download. This is about controlling our future. And part of that is generating revenue from parking. I will share that we kept the padlock on the gate a little bit longer than normal at Beach Area 1. Again, part of the rationale for that was because of the plovers. We wanted to make sure that they had gotten well established before we took the padlocks off. But absolutely, the business case is something that we're laser focused on.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Snell. Any other comments or questions? All right, seeing none, thank you, staff, for a job well done, as always. We really appreciate it, and I think what's important for the good folks of Wasaga Beach to note is that this council is serious about making sure that the plovers, the dunes, the ecosystems, everything is kept intact, and that we grow upon that, and that we improve upon that. And nothing new here from the last 35, 40 years or more as to what we're doing. But I do think it's important to speak briefly about some of the things that are out there, get put out there by, in the public by alarmists, if you will, for lack of a better term. And the one post that was brought to my attention was someone's out there saying, well, I guess the plovers are gone or no longer here, or something to that effect, because the fences are coming down. And this was posted early in the morning when staff were just starting to work on removing the snow fence and I guess installing post and rope or whatever. And all I would ask is, and first I would say to the community, you've all heard it before, it takes a community. And to keep our beach safe, to keep it clean, to keep it intact, to keep the ecosystem and the wildlife intact and safe, it takes a community. And so it doesn't help when you don't know what you're talking about and you start posting things out there that are 100% incorrect, And then the worst part of that is when you are corrected, you don't have the, you don't have the internal fortitude to say, oh, geez, my mistake, I won't do that again. Instead, you go on and you post more and disinformation. It's so disheartening. This community cares about where we live and what we do. And we care about the heart and lungs of our community, which is our beach. And so we are going to continue to work very hard to make it better than it ever has been. And it would be nice if, if you've got nothing good to say or nothing accurate to say, maybe not say anything at all, because it just creates panic, it creates mayhem that isn't warranted. And I will tell you this, when you create panic and you create mayhem, you create calls and inquiries to the municipality about things that are incorrect, and that costs taxpayers money. And we see a lot of that, and it's really unfortunate. I want to talk about security, and there's some, again, putting pictures out because there's a bicycle track or an ATV track in the critical habitat, and blaming the municipality. Well, we had a meeting 2 weeks ago at the fire station with all of the emergency services and our partners, a pre-long weekend meeting, which we do before every long weekend. And part of that meeting is Ontario Parks. And, Ben, the superintendent from Ontario Parks, was very clear in that meeting that what we're seeing with these tracks in critical habitat and footprints and people not paying attention or not following the rules is not uncommon. They see it every year, especially early in the year, until they can get out and try to nip it in the bud. But, unless we're going to put armed guards 24/7 in these areas, folks, there are going to be people in our community for whatever reason, either by mistake, an honest mistake, or whatever, and they're going to get into that area. And, we're putting up signs, we're doing everything we can. We'll have more signs out there to make people aware of these areas than ever before. I would probably say 2 or 3 to 1. So hopefully we'll stop more of that. But again, this is not new. There's nothing different here, nothing new to see. And, and that's been confirmed by Ontario Parks, who have been dealing with this for the last 50 years, quite frankly. So not saying it's right, not saying we want it to happen, but if there's one thing I can promise you all, it's that it will happen. And we'll do our best to stop it, and if we catch the people, we'll penalize them. And if you see someone, take a license number, get a description, because we may be able to see them on the beach cams or whatever, and we will pursue them, because this is important. These little guys, our little plovers, who's here this year? Ollie and Patty? So Ollie and Patty are important residents of Wasaga Beach. And if you are going to endanger them, like any other resident, then you're going to face the consequences if we catch you. So I'll leave it at that. But please, folks, let's just be accurate. If you've got a question, call Town Hall, ask us. You see you're taking the fence down. Why? Well, we're putting up new fencing. Andrew?
I'll keep this fairly high level, but to your comment about this is costing taxpayers money, it is. And what I will share, and again, I'm going to keep my comments short, there are organizations that are taking some shots at the town of Wasaga Beach. It's egged on by some locals, and for whatever reason, I want to ensure the community we're doing the right thing. To your comment earlier, our approach is equal to, if not better, and I would argue that it's actually better than what's been done in the past. But the community needs to know when you do this kind of stuff, we need to protect this corporation, and we're spending a lot of money on lawyers right now because of it, as a direct result of this stuff. So that impacts your wallet. So again, to your point earlier, come and ask us. We'll tell you what's going on. Keep the nonsense on social media down, because again, it's impacting your wallets. It's costing you money.
Excellent point. Thank you, Andrea. Okay, so we do have nothing further on this item. Before I move on in the report, I want to go back to the WBSE AGM 2025 year in review, where I missed the motion there to accept and receive that from council, so I'll do that now. This is item 6.1, and the recommended motion is that the WBSE shareholders receive the annual general meeting 2025 year in review presentation and the 2025 WBSE audited financials as information. Could I have a mover and a seconder for this, please? Moved by Councillor White, seconded by Deputy Mayor Snell. All in favor? That carries unanimously. Thank you. My apologies. Moving on now back to number 10, staff reports. It is noted that reports number 10.1, 10.6, 10.9, and 10.10 have been pulled from the consent agenda to be dealt with under matters for consideration. No other items have been pulled, and so a recommended motion that the following consent list items under staff reports and all the recommendations contained therein be adopted, excluding items pulled and moved to matters for consideration to be voted on separately. A mover and a seconder for this, please. Moved by Councillor Ego and seconded by Councillor White. All in favor? That carries unanimously. And moving on to item number 11, which is correspondence items. No items have been pulled from correspondence, so it is a recommended motion that the following consent list items under correspondence be received for information, excluding items pulled and moved to matters for consideration to be voted on separately, which there are none. Can I have a mover and a seconder for this, please? Moved by Councillor DeLeo, seconded by Councillor Belanger. All in favor? That carries unanimously. Item number 12 is minutes of boards and committees, and we do have nothing pulled there either, so we do have a recommended motion that consent list items under minutes of boards and committees be received for information. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, a mover and a seconder for this, please. Moved by Councillor White, seconded by Councillor Timms. All in favor? That carries unanimously. Item number 13 is matters for consideration, and the warming center end of season is the first item, and this was pulled by Deputy Mayor Snell, Councillor White, and Councillor Timms. So I'll go to Deputy Mayor Snell first. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship. I was wondering if we could pass the floor to the Chief to speak to this report. I think it's a really good story that needs to be shared.
Chief.
Sure. Thank you, Deputy Snell, and through the chair. So I'll give you a high-level overview of the activities of the warming center that occurred this last winter. And just a reminder, our local warming center has been in place now for a couple of years, and it is really designed to augment the existing homeless shelter system and affordable housing system that currently exists in the County of Simcoe. So this specific warming center, it is a partnership between the County of Simcoe, Faith Missionary Church, and the town of Wasaga Beach. And at the inception of the warming center, it did start as a temperature-activated warming center, where for the first year was actually only when Environment Canada announced an extreme cold weather warning, and then we had moved it to activation at -10. And we're very proud to say that this last winter, this center was open 7 days a week, regardless of the temperature outside, and it was from 7:30 p.m. until 7:30 a.m. and had a maximum capacity of 10 individuals per night. So throughout the course of the 6 months that it was open, from November 1st to April 30th, they tracked 71 unique individuals that accessed the program. It resulted in 700 visits to the warming center, and of that, 637 individuals spent the night there. The participant list was really focused on locals from Wasaga Beach and the immediate area. So there was no transportation of individuals from outside of our community where another shelter exists to our shelter system. So we spent a lot of effort making sure that this service was to be provided to residents locally and in the immediate area. One interesting thing about a warming center is that it did operate as pet friendly. We did not see a large amount of pets, but we did have one individual that brought a dog on an infrequent basis, and there was no concerns with that presence of that animal. Meals were provided by church volunteers, and a specific push was on for relationship building. So the church volunteers would prepare food and then sit down with the clients and build relationships, and we received very good feedback from clientele with that situation. The County of Simcoe increased some of the support that it offered this year, including garbage disposal. So a dumpster was placed on site and was removed on a regular basis just to help the church out, as well as the installation of a laundry and dryer machine. And that was important because it allowed for the bedding to be laundered on a far more efficient basis, but they extended the dryer service to some of the clients as well. You can imagine in the middle of the winter, clothing comes in quite wet, and for safety reasons, it's important that it be cleaned and dried properly before individuals leave for the morning. The town continued to provide support to the program with municipal transit passes. So we issued approximately 2,500 transit passes through the course of the winter, and we've tracked that the estimated usage rate of those passes was about 67%. So there were passes that were distributed that for whatever reason may have gotten lost, or the individuals didn't end up deciding to use them at the end of the day, but it certainly helped with part of the success of that program. At this point, all of the parties, they have expressed interest in operating again next winter, a very similar program. And the only other thing that I would like to highlight is there is funding from the town that is used to support this center. It's currently at about $10,000 a year, and that funding has been used to augment the transit passes as well as just minor purchasing for replacement bedding as well as cots, that sort of things. But that funding is not based on taxation. That funding actually is taken from our casino revenue dollars which we receive, and we feel as staff that that is an extremely good use of that funding. So again, we appreciate council's support of this program, and I'm happy to take any questions that you might have.
Thank you very much, Chief. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Your Worship, through you. When I first read the report, what really popped for me was 71 unique individuals. You know, obviously every community is struggling with homelessness. But then when speaking with you later, you confirmed that, you know, they're not necessarily showing identification. They could come in one day and register as John, come in another day, register as Chris. Can you just speak to that? Because I don't want our community to get too alarmed by that number. And then I have another question.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and through the chair. Yes, so from my understanding with speaking to the County of Simcoe, they use a program called HIFIS to track individuals through the homeless system in Simcoe County. When an individual comes in, they provide a name. They may not be in a position to provide ID because they may not have ID with them. So my understanding is that this is the number of individuals that were tracked by name through the system. However, what the county have also told me is that not all the individuals are experiencing chronic homelessness. In fact, probably a very small number of them are experiencing the chronic homelessness, and that we do have a number of people that are transient. So due to a personal situation, they may have needed to leave their accommodation, their place of residence due to a personal situation, and maybe they're stuck in between where they're trying to figure out where I'm going to be in a week from now. They also know that there's referrals done by such as the police, right? That might bring someone to the Warman Center for the evening because they have no other options. So this doesn't mean that we have 71 homeless individuals in our town. I can assure you we absolutely do not. We have a much, much, much smaller number than that. But this, I think, does go away to show that there's a larger number probably than we thought, but a lot of the individuals might be of a transient situation.
Thank you. And just one final comment. You know, I think this program is just another, excuse me, creative example of collaboration. You know, much like the high school, the theater, and the developer. You know, here, you know, we've put together through your initiative and council support, of course, this collaborative team to support the most vulnerable residents in our community. You know, we've got the county on board in funding it and providing the staff for it so that it's not just the volunteers at the church. And then we've got the church really stepping up with meals and laundry service and use of their facility. And then council support in providing some of the infrastructure like the beds and whatnot, and your leadership and helping to put it together and to keep the communication flowing. So thank you so much. This is one that I'm super proud of for this council and for our staff. Thank you.
You, Deputy Mayor, and now we'll go to Councillor White.
Thank you very much, Your Worship, through you. Yeah, great program, and nice to see it evolve over time. It's no secret I live across the street from this facility, which is also next to a daycare and an elementary school. So having people come and go with the way that we put the bus stop in the right spot and all these different things to help out and to keep the area, you know, clean and neat is very good. I guess the point I really want to make is just circle back to that volunteer story. You know, that's missed on a lot of people, but a lot of those meals were made in volunteers' homes, you know, and taken down to the clinic or to the walk-in center, and allowed them to all eat together. And you know, I think I donated some food to some people to help them with that grocery bill. I think that laundry was going home to volunteers' homes too, in some cases, to be laundered before the facilities were put in. So again, great evolution there to really help out. But a big shout out to the volunteers. It's a lot of work of love, and thank you for that.
Anything, Chief?
Sure. Thank you, Councillor White. Actually, one thing that we were looking for this last year was actually corporate sponsorship when it came to the meals. The church was a little concerned that they were starting to burn out some of their volunteers, so we had jointly had a discussion, and we were planning on approaching restaurants in town to figure out how they can maybe take turns at supporting the meals that come through there. And I'm quite certain we would have been very successful in that approach. However, when it came to actually delivering the season, the volunteers wanted to step up again. And to your point, you know, in some cases they're putting in considerable time and their own funds into this, and they deserve all of the credit for sure. But you know, when the day comes that we need to look for other options, I do see that this program, you know, with hopeful continual support, that it would just continue to evolve and adapt as it will be required to.
Thank you, and thank you, Councillor. And now go to Councillor Timms.
Thank you, Your Worship. I don't want to reiterate these great comments by my colleagues, but I do have a question. And the last time we were updated, we had not reached capacity. And when I read the report, I saw that sometimes people are coming at 5:30 to ensure that they get a spot. Have we ever reached over capacity so someone could not stay?
Thank you, Councillor Timms, and through the chair. It has happened, but extremely infrequently. So what we experienced this year is, I'd call it the shoulder seasons, when it's not as cold out. The service is being used, but almost underutilized, like it's averaging perhaps 3 people per night. Where we're seeing us reaching that capacity is when it is really cold out, right? You know, when you're in minus 20 out, we are seeing hit 8, 9. It has showed up where we've had 11 and 12 show up. So what happens in those cases is the individual is transported to an available space. So nobody is turned away at the door and simply just told, too bad you're outside. They're brought inside to keep warm for the time being, and then alternate arrangements are made to ensure that they're safe for the night. For fire safety reasons, we have not increase the overnight capacity beyond 10, but we're well aware that, you know, that is a potential discussion that might need to happen in the future, and we will have that conversation. We did see during the busiest times people arriving early, and that generally wasn't a reflection of there wasn't space in the facility. I think it's just where people are nervous that they want to ensure that they have their spots secured. So arriving early at 5:30 and before the warming shelter staff arrived for the night did at times pose some challenges. Thankfully, I think the impacts to the surrounding community were minimized and very few complaints came in. However, that was a discussion that did take place just probably about a month ago with the county, and they're looking for ways to support those individuals, I think is the best way to say it, going into next season, so we don't end up problems with loitering and an uncomfortable feeling for the surrounding community. So we're aware of it. It's a difficult thing to manage, but our goal is to adapt the program to the challenges we face and make sure that ultimately everybody has a safe place to sleep every night of the winter.
Thank you, if I might, Your Worship. I do want to echo that it's such a good news story, and I also wanted to express my gratitude to the volunteers when I read, the workload that they've taken on passionately and compassionately. That's so wonderful. I also do want to just add that as a member of the library board, I realize how the library is taking a role in offering care and dignity to people during the day when they come over, as well as staff at the Recplex. So kudos to all our staff. This is such a good news story, and I thank our staff for making it happen. And thank you so much, Chief and Library CEO Jennifer Jones.
If I may, Your Worship, and then I'll turn it over to Jen if she does want to comment at all. 100%, and I appreciate the kudos. It's a team sport, just like so many other things that we do. But absolutely, both the library staff and the facility staff, they do go above and beyond. It's a tough go, and we've had to respond throughout the winter to some of the challenges that get created with using our municipal facilities as passive warning center, but the staff are second to none. I think they've, created a welcoming space and a supportive space as well. And we've even gone as far as this winter engaging with the Busby Center so that they have a regular presence at the library now in order to be physically available for these clients, but also to offer support. And again, our end goal is obviously get them out of the difficult position that they're in. And there are some success stories, I think, that have happened. So to Lee and Jen, both your staff, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. All right, Councillor DeLeo.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for your report, Chief Williams. Thank you. Most of my council members already said what I wanted to say, but I do want to say thank you so much, and thank county in particular for not setting a temperature, that no matter what the temperature is, they can just come on in, and great that it's open 7 days a week. That's amazing. A special thank you for making it pet friendly, because pets deserve to be warm just as much. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Ego.
Thank you, and through you, Your Worship. That is really an uplifting report. I mean, we don't like that we have this, but we know it's a reality, and this was really, uplifting to read. And I want to go back to how quickly this has happened. I think one of the other councillors referred to it. If my recollection serves me, I think we started kind of in a panic situation the winter of 2023 when it was a horrific storm out there, and it was staff here and you and your team and the police that pulled together on a night and took care of people on a winter night. And this is how far we've come in these few short years. And I think it's just remarkable on all levels of all the people participating. I was meeting with different ministers this year on issues on food and so forth. And one of the ministers said to me, and I'd like all this council to hear this, is that he said he's been a minister here quite a few terms of council, and he gives kudos to this council for that we stick to what we say, and that we have stepped up to the plate, and he was very proud of what he's seen happen here throughout town. So I thought the public and my members here should hear that as well. I do have a couple of questions, and it's really on the stats, and I'm just really curious. And if they do this, and they probably do, do we know, would it be, and you don't have to tell me today, but do they track more males than females? That type of thing, I'm wondering. So males and females, singles versus families, and I'm really curious about youth, if we have more youth than adults. So just my thoughts.
Chief.
Thank you, Councillor Ego. Through the chair, I can only speak from my experience, no youth within the centre itself. That's not to say that there aren't any struggling, but the county has their MVP program, motel voucher program, that is typically targeted for families to access, so that children and youth aren't in a adult shelter. As far as male, females, again, my guess would be more males than females. The only spot I can think of at this very moment would be to look at is the Simcoe County does publish a lot of their information on their open access website, and we might be able to see a little bit of information on what the homeless population does look like using that resource. But certainly we could have a different conversation with the county and try and collect some of that information for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor. All right, any other questions or comments on this matter? Deputy Mayor Snell?
Thank you, Your Worship. With all the talk about the great work that the volunteers have done there, they've been absolutely essential in the success of this program. Could I ask, Chief, if you could maybe work with the team over there to see if we can get those volunteers and the leadership team over here to council to a future meeting for a personal show of appreciation and a photo? Thank you.
Thank you. Excellent idea, Deputy Mayor Snell. You know, I think it's really important to note how great this program is, how special this program is. And, you know, we've gone from zero, having nothing, or virtually nothing, to what I would consider a 10, where no one's turned away. They may not be able to sleep there that evening, but they are going to be put in a warm place, and they are going to be fed, and they are going to be cared for. I think, you know, it goes without saying how great our staff here are, and how great the staff under the direction of General Manager Baguette Fayez, Mina, and the county staff are. You know, it often goes where the county is kind of that silent savior, if you will, because they do so much across the county that, you know, most municipalities or people within the municipalities aren't aware of. And I can tell you that Mina is just phenomenal. He is so knowledgeable about social services and assistance. We are blessed at the county to have him, just as we are blessed to have the staff we have here. And again, this can't go without thanking you know, Pastor Graham Gassler at the church, at the Faith Mission Church here in Wasaga Beach on River Road West. You know, for him and his team to pull this together, and those volunteers to be there day in and day out every day. And you know, it was interesting. You said, Chief, that we were looking to reach out to businesses to help with the food, and because they, you know, Pastor Graham was worried about burnout. Yet here we are in the second year, they all put their hand up, saying, no, we want to do this. So I think it's a great idea to have them come and be thanked publicly, because you know, this I'm sure this took a lot of thought and a lot of pre-dedication, pre-commitment, if you will, to even reach out as they did to say, hey, we can do this, and we want to do this if we can work with the municipality and the county. And again, this is about building relationships, right? Everything that we do with this council is about building relationships with other levels of government, with other organizations, with other private partners, to make sure that we're moving this community forward in a positive, affordable, and sustainable manner. So kudos to everybody involved. Thank you, Chief, for that report. Truly appreciate it. We do have a recommended motion then that the report titled Warming Center End of Season Summary to the Council Meeting of May 28, 2026 be received for information. I can have that mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Deputy Mayor Snell and seconded by Councillor White. All in favor?
No.
That carries unanimously.
Your Worship, it's just a report.
Oh, I'm sorry. Recorded vote. Okay, how many meetings do I have left?
That's okay. Councillor Belanger.
In favor.
Councillor DeLeo.
In favor.
Councillor Ego. In favor. Deputy Mayor Snell.
In favor.
Councillor Timms.
In favor.
Councillor White.
In favor.
Mayor Smith.
In favor?
Carries unanimously.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. And we now move on to the next item, which is the Silver Birch Avenue Traffic Report, and this was pulled by Councillor White. Councillor?
Thank you, Your Worship, through you. Yep, it's been a long journey. I've been working on this for a long time. Learned a few things, and one of the things that I learned that will probably be shocking to most people is that you cannot use a stop sign to calm traffic. There's actually an OREG that talks to this specifically, and it's something that I was trying very hard to do. So getting out there and getting the data collected and to make a data-driven decision, I think was the absolute best thing for the community. This report recommends extending the sidewalk up the side there, which is going to give a lot of pedestrian and pet-friendly accommodations all the way up from River Road West all the way up to the end at Silver Sands, I think it's called, which is great for kids to be able to cross the street and access the mailbox if that's your thing, and even for the mailbox worker themselves who has to stuff that mailbox, it gives them a little bit of safety as well. So at the end of the day, I think we landed in a really great space here. I know I pushed hard for this for a very long time, and I just want to thank Kevin for putting up with me and coming up with the right answer.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other questions or comments on this matter? I think it's just important to note that, you know, when you're walking down the street and a car goes by you, even at 30 kilometers an hour, it sounds and feels much quicker than it is. And, you know, in my terms on council, you know, I can't tell you how many times I've had calls about these things, and we've done, you know, Kevin and his staff have gone out and we've set up, you know, and done the surveys, and the data 9.9 times out of 10, I would say, Kevin, comes back that, you know what, the average person is actually doing at or below the speed limit. Yeah, are there some people out there that are well over? Yes, but they're fewer and farther between than we think, so it's great, and you know, we did the right thing here. The people reached out, you put in the requests, we did the work, we got the data, and we have a report with a recommendation as well. So we'll look to move forward and get that fixed. Councillor White?
Sorry, Your Worship, for coming back to the table on this one. You know, the other things that were discussed around this by some of the residents out there were, one of the very popular things to talk about was changing the speed limit. A lot of the speed limits in this town are 50 zones, as they are in most municipalities, and would have a discussion around, you know, setting the speed limit down to 40. I live in the school zone across the street from Birchview Dunes, and when the 40 zone is flashing, I almost think traffic speeds up. I don't think that changing speed limits has an impact on traffic. I think people drive how they drive. And another one too that was also very popular was speed bumps. And again, this is something that is really ineffective in many situations. Not only is it detrimental to first responders, fire trucks, ambulances, police cars, whatever, also to people with the classic car community, they don't like them. People who actually drive the speed limit don't like them. And SUVs and lifted trucks don't care about them. So they're just really ineffective when it comes to that kind of stuff. One of the things I do like about traffic calming is, you know, we've talked about this before about urbanization, you know, narrowing streets, you know, all this sort of stuff, forcing drivers to pay attention. It forces drivers to slow down. In school zones, sometimes we see a little a marker bolted to the street, you know, stands in the middle of the street that really, you know, gets people to focus to the point where you turn down the radio, you know, to focus. So there's a lot of options here. I do think that urbanizing the street is going to have the biggest impact and the best impact overall.
All right, thank you very much, Councillor. We do have a recommended motion here that the report titled Silver Birch Avenue at Bay Court Traffic Report to the Council meeting of May 28, 2026 be received, and that Council direct staff to include for consideration in the first draft of the 2027 budget the project, which includes approximately 130 meters of 1.5 meter wide concrete sidewalk to be installed along the south side of Silver Birch Avenue from the current sidewalk terminus at Silver Birch Trail Loop to Silver Sands Crescent for an estimated cost of $40,000. Mover and a seconder on this, please. Councillor White and Councillor Ego. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. Councillor Belanger.
In favor.
Councillor DeLeo.
In favor.
Councillor Ego. Deputy Mayor Snell.
In favor?
Councillor Timms.
In favor.
Councillor White.
In favor.
Mayor Smith.
In favor?
Carries unanimously.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. And now moving on to the next item, which is the in-kind contribution request for Special Olympics Walkathon, and this was pulled by Deputy Mayor Snell and Councillor Timms. Deputy Mayor Snell?
Thank you, Your Worship. I just wanted to draw attention to this report because it was late last year. The chief and I attended an event in Collingwood that recognized the participants of this program. And when I spoke at that event on your behalf, I asked the audience to raise their hand if they were from Wasaga Beach. And I was surprised that nearly half the room raised their hand. And so I think sometimes, you know, we don't realize how many of our residents travel and share in some of these supportive programs in other communities. So I'm really, really supportive of this, and I would love to challenge my colleagues to, you know, maybe we can have a little friendly contest to see who can raise the most money and participate in the walkathon as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Snell. Other questions or comments on this matter is Councillor Timms.
Just a really short question. It occurred to me when I was reading the report that there could be, especially if council's out there doing this walkathon, a capacity number that will be reached during that item. So I wonder if someone can say, we're letting our walking track be used for this event. Is there a cap, and which could be good or not so good?
Chief?
Thank you, Councillor Timms. My mind is not that good. I don't know exactly what the number is, but there's absolutely an occupancy rate for the walking track. So last year we did ensure that was established, and the event organizer helped us monitor that to make sure that we weren't exceeding that limit for safety reasons. So it will be done this year again.
All right, other questions or comments then? All right, Councillor
Your Worship, yeah, I totally support this. I just have a question, and maybe it was in there. Is there Wasaga Beach athletes in this year? Are there any competing? Yep.
I don't know if we know for sure, but again, as the Deputy Mayor indicated, half the people put their hands up, and there were last year, so I would assume yes.
Perfect. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Any other questions or comments on this matter? All right, seeing none, we do have a recommended motion then that the report titled In-Kind Donation Request Special Olympics Walkathon to the council meeting of May 28, 2026 be received, and that council approve the in-kind use of the Wasaga Stars Arena walking track on July 18, 2026 for the Collingwood and area Special Olympics Annual Walkathon. Mover and a seconder for this, please. Moved by Deputy Mayor Snell, seconded by Councillor Timms. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Your Worship. Councillor Blanchet.
In favor?
Councillor DeLeo.
In favor.
Councillor Eagle.
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Snell.
In favor.
Councillor Timms.
In favor.
Councillor White.
In favor.
Mayor Smith.
In favor?
Carries unanimously.
Thank you. And now moving on to the next item, which is the Beach Area 1 and 2 designated swim zone expansion, and this was pulled by Deputy Mayor Snell and Councillor White. Deputy Mayor Snell?
Thank you. I just had a quick comment to me. Thank you, Kevin, first of all, for turning this around so quickly. I'm really pleased with the amount of investment that it's going to take. I was surprised that it was as small as it is, and that it's a one-time purchase, and then going forward, it's a matter of the time invested in staff. And I just wanted to thank Councillor White for bringing this forward. It's a no-brainer in terms of expanding the safe area for folks to come and enjoy our beautiful beach.
Excellent point. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Snell. Councillor White?
Thank you, Worship, through you, and thank you, Deputy Mayor, for your kind words. Yes, thank you, Kevin, for this. This is what proactive action looks like. We are seeing the sprawl of people along our beachfront, not only because of the construction that's going on down there, but also, too, just the increase in people on our beach, the increase of people taking advantage of being in the water. Maintaining a swim zone all the way through to 12th Street really ensures that when people come down here, dip their toes in the water, that they're not going to get cut off. And I think that beach safety is important. As an avid boater, a lot of the boating community relies on our own understanding of the rules. You know, who's the giveaway boater and all this sort of stuff. You know, when it comes to how you operate your vessel on the water, people who don't have operator cards or haven't taken any courses or whatever don't know these things, and it can create frustration out there. So to the boaters that follow the rules and advocate for proper boating safety, thank you very much. And in absence of that, this swim zone will protect our swimmers for a long time, and I think it's vitally important.
Thank you, Councillor White. Councillor Eagle?
Thank you, and through your worship, thank you, Councillor White, for bringing this forward. And I think what it's probably going to help, I'm visualizing, is it going to help the people on inflatables not to be getting out beyond the buoys? Is it? No, it's not going to help that?
Well, unless we put mechanical arms on those buoys at the end to grab them and pull them back in, you would hope that common sense would tell them, don't go past the swim area, don't go past that rope. But, you know, the chief can probably speak to this better than anybody else. I think what happens, you get on this raft, and you're having fun, and you're playing, and the next thing you know, you look back, and you are a kilometer away from land, and you can't get back. So, you know, we will continue in this municipality, I'm confident, to look at ways to help with that offshore breeze. And I know we've had discussions at the staff level already with respect to what's the best way to let people know there is an offshore breeze. Is it a light system? Is it a flag system? Is it a windsock? But, you know, we know we want to do something. We want to do what's right and what works best. But I can tell you this, we can have everything you can imagine there to prevent people from having accidents, and we will still have accidents, unfortunately. And again, you know, when people come to the beach, they're coming to have fun. And so they should, and that's what happens. The fun gets in the way sometimes of our the safety chip that we have in our head, and bad things happen. But you know, what is disappointing for me is to know that you know, the Ontario Parks this year is not going to have a boat in the water on a regular basis. You know, the province of Ontario purchased a brand new beautiful boat for the Wasaga Beach Provincial Park 2 years ago. Made a big announcement about that, a beautiful boat suited for the waters that we have in Georgian Bay. And because of the change in Beach Area 1 and 2, I've learned that the parks is now, Wasaga Beach Provincial Park has now loaned that boat out to, I think, Rwanda Provincial Park. And so the old boat or another boat that was here before will be here, but on a trailer, and only put in the water as they see fit or if they need it. You know, when water rescue is required, the chief again can speak to this, time is of the essence, and it's why this municipality moved from having a boat on a trailer to two personal watercraft that will be, you know, now docked this summer at Nancy Island, so is that they're in the water and ready to go. And I know the chief is looking to move that even as close as possible, even on the other side of the river, so is that it's quicker for firefighters to get from Station 1 to that watercraft. When there's an issue on the water, time is of the essence. And so, you know, the fact that Beach Area 1 and 2 is going to be, is ours to look after and maintain on the land shouldn't mitigate the fact that, you know, the one of, if not the largest provincial park, certainly the largest provincial park within a municipality, on the longest freshwater beach in the world, should certainly have manned people in the waters. And I have had that discussion with MPP Saunderson and made him aware. He was quite surprised by that. I know he's looking into it, but the good news is that the OPP have made it clear that this year they will have officers in the boat on the water every day, I believe. Correct, Chief? And again, staff permitting, I mean, but that is their plan. And so in this case, the OPP over the last few years have really stepped up and increased that. We've reached out and worked with them and asked them to do so. And the detachment commander, both previous to and Inspector McCracken have absolutely worked on that. And great to see that we'll have officers in boats every day of the week all summer long here in Wasaga Beach. So. To your point, unless we can get an AI monster to pluck people out of the water, yeah. But you would hope that the buoy is going to help people not go past that. Go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you. I was just saying, I think the buoy may help in some way for some of the younger people on that. And yeah, I'm really disappointed to hear that about the ministry boat, because I do know a story firsthand of a sailboat that went down, and luckily the ministry boat was out there and rescued the sailors. So I'm in shock actually about that. So thanks.
All right, any other questions or comments on this matter? All right, seeing none, we do have a recommended motion that the report titled Beach Area 1 and 2 Designated Swim Zone Expansion to the council meeting of May 28, 2026 be received, and that council approve the expansion of the designated swim zone in Beach Areas 1 from the current limits at 3rd Street westerly to 12th Street at an estimated cost of $11,000, and that the unbudgeted estimate amount of $11,000 be approved and funded from the general reserves or in-year surplus if available. Could I have a mover and a second for this, please? Moved by Councillor White, seconded by Councillor Eagle. All in favor? Sorry, Madam Clerk.
Councillor Blanchet.
In favor.
Councillor DeLeo.
In favor.
Councillor Eagle.
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Snell.
In favor.
Councillor Timms.
In favor.
Councillor White.
In favor.
Mayor Smith.
In favor.
Carries unanimously.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item number 14 is recommendations arising from boards and committees, and we have none today. Item number 15 is council requested staff reports. Members of council, you've seen that list. Any questions or comments on those reports? All right, seeing none, moving on then to item number 16, notices of motion. We have none. Item number 16, motion where notice has been provided. We have none. And we're now at item 18, which is closed session, which we will move into. And this is that pursuant to the Municipal Act 2001 as amended, the next portion of the May 28, 2026 council meeting will move into closed session to consider the following matters: property acquisition and disposition and commercial business lands. Could I have a mover and a seconder for this, please? Moved by Deputy Mayor Snell, seconded by Councillor Timms. All in favor? That carries unanimously. We'll now take a 5-minute comfort break and go into closed session.
And we're live, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Clerk, and welcome back, everybody. We're coming out of closed session, and I'll look to our clerk for a rise and report. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Your Worship. Council entered into closed session at 11:24 a.m. to discuss the following items. Item 18.3.1, property acquisition disposition in accordance with Section 239(2)C. And item 18.3.2, commercial business lands in accordance with Section 239(2)F of the Municipal Act. As a result of those discussions, staff direction was provided. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And moving on to item number 20 on the agenda is bylaws, and we do have a recommended motion that the following bylaws be received. It has been deemed to have been read a first, second, and third time and finally passed, and this is 2026-43 and bylaw 2026-44. Questions or comments on these bylaws? Seeing none, a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor White, seconded by Councillor DeLeo. All in favor? That motion carries, and this meeting is adjourned.